Signore e signori, gentili ospiti, autorità, buongiorno e benvenuti nella sede di Villa Doria d'Angri dell'Università degli Studi di Napoli Partenope, in occasione della cerimonia di conferimento del dottorato honoris causa in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità al professor Panos Pardalos. La cerimonia sarà seguita anche attraverso il nostro canale YouTube, quindi io saluto anche coloro che ci seguiranno a distanza. Bene, possiamo dare il via alla cerimonia introducendo l'ingresso del magnifico rettore dell'Università degli Studi di Napoli, il professor Antonio Garofalo, e del professor Panos Pardalos. Apre la cerimonia il magnifico rettore, professor Antonio Garofalo.
Buongiorno e benvenuti. Care colleghe, cari colleghi, illustri ospiti, cari studenti, caro Panos. L'Università di Napoli Partenope, in ottemperanza alla delibera del Senato accademico del 27 novembre 2019 e del Consiglio di amministrazione del 21 febbraio 2020 e a distanza di circa un anno dal rinvio della cerimonia odierna a causa della pandemia da Covid-19, conferisce oggi al professor Panos Pardalos il titolo di dottore di ricerca honoris causa in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità. Poter conferire oggi ad una personalità di spicco della comunità scientifica questo titolo è, per l'Ateneo che ho l'onore di dirigere, un'occasione particolarmente significativa e rappresenta un momento di profonda responsabilità e impegno culturale. Come è noto, il dottorato honoris causa è conferito a personalità che hanno saputo contribuire in modo rilevante e ad accrescere scienza, cultura e sviluppo della società. È una decisione che coinvolge l'intero Ateneo nel riconoscere l'importanza e l'attualità dei motivi che caratterizzano l'attività della personalità prescelta. Un riconoscimento altamente simbolico perché è la riaffermazione della volontà della nostra comunità scientifica e accademica di onorare personalità di alto spessore culturale che hanno saputo svolgere ruoli determinanti a livello mondiale. La proposta del dottorato in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità si inserisce pienamente in questa ottica e segue coerentemente il solco della tradizione dell'eccellenza della ricerca del nostro Ateneo, di rivolgere la sua attenzione allo scambio culturale e alla condivisione delle conoscenze e competenze e di investire nel processo di internazionalizzazione e globalizzazione del sapere. L'impegno costante che l'Ateneo ha profuso in questo processo di ampliamento degli orizzonti culturali per rafforzare l'attività di ricerca, la promozione e la diffusione del sapere ha prodotto una fitta rete di collaborazione a livello internazionale in diversi campi, di cui l'evento di oggi è certamente una testimonianza. I temi di ricerca a cui il professor Pardalos ha rivolto la sua attività di studio e di ricerca dimostrano il suo impegno a contribuire con gli strumenti della matematica allo sviluppo di settori della società sempre più rilevanti, quali il controllo dell'impatto ambientale, della gestione del mercato dell'energia e della intelligenza artificiale. Ambiti scientifici e ricerche che, come emergerà dalla Laudatio, hanno numerosi punti in comune con le linee di ricerca attive nel nostro Ateneo e che caratterizzano il dottorato di ricerca in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità. Il dottorato di ricerca honoris causa, che oggi l'Ateneo ha il piacere di conferire al professor Pardalos, vuole sottolineare il suo prezioso lavoro di ricerca e la sua prestigiosa carriera, testimoniata a livello mondiale dai numerosi premi ricevuti da autorevoli organismi internazionali e dall'affiliazione a prestigiose accademie. Il conferimento del dottorato honoris causa al professor Pardalos è quindi motivo di orgoglio per l'Ateneo, che conferma e rende visibile ancora una volta la sua tradizione scientifica e internazionale. In conclusione, desidero ringraziare il Collegio dei Docenti del Dottorato di Ricerca in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità e il Dipartimento di Studi Economici e Giuridici, che hanno proposto e avviato il conferimento accademico honoris causa, gli organi accademici, il Senato accademico e il Consiglio di amministrazione che l'hanno sostenuta e, non ultimo, il Ministero dell'Università e della Ricerca, che ha di fatto accolto la nostra proposta. E infine voglio esprimere la mia gratitudine al professor Panos Pardalos per essere qui a Napoli, all'Università di Napoli Partenope, e per aver accettato il nostro invito a diventare parte nobile, a conclusione della cerimonia di conferimento, della nostra storia. Grazie.
Si invita il professor Francesco Busato, coordinatore del Dottorato di Ricerca in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità e prorettore alla programmazione per la Laudatio.
Magnifico rettore dell'università, autorità, gentili ospiti, colleghi, studenti, personale tecnico amministrativo. Vorrei preliminarmente esprimere la mia gratitudine al magnifico rettore per avermi concesso l'onore di tenere la laudatio in questa cerimonia di conferimento del dottorato honoris causa in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità al professor Panos Pardalos. Honorable Rector, authorities, colleagues, students, the awarding of a PhD honoris causa is an event of great cultural significance for the entire university and for the doctorate that promoted it. Now, I had the privilege to prepare this laudatio, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunities. Now, I'd like to begin noticing that Panos is recognized as one of the best mathematicians of the world. Now, indeed, he's in the 38th position in Mathematics Science Ranking 2023, which defines the ranking of the best scholars in the field of mathematics using citation data combined from various sources. And I could stop here, as you imagine. But the laudatio is a moment when it is important to offer to the floor a bird's-eye view of the PhD contribution. I necessarily need to be brief, since Professor Panos Pardalos' contributions are important and many. Now, Panos is a distinguished professor of industrial and system engineering at the University of Florida. He has the chair of the Paul and Heidi Brown at the University of Florida, and is the director of the Center for Applied Optimization. Panos is an outstanding scientist, world-leading expert in global and combinatorial optimization, mathematical modeling, and data sciences. Now, his papers are considered milestones in the combinatorial and global optimization literature. Panos' researches propose models and algorithms to solve complex problems related to the field, with notable impact in several disciplines, so not only mathematics, such as economics, statistics, sustainability. Panos is fully involved in the research in the field of energy systems, on the one hand, as the editor-in-chief of the journal Energy Systems, and as a co-editor of several books dedicated to sustainability in logistics and in networks. On the other, as author of many relevant publications on several topics, such as optimization problem in the food industry, CO2 emission reduction, CO2 emission constraint problems, energy losses maximization distribution system, risk management for natural gas transmission network expansion. All topics deeply relevant for our PhD program. He has just published a paper in a prestigious journal, Nature Communication 2023. He focuses in understanding diffusive processes in network, introducing the new concept of diffusion capacity. The idea, Panos, please forgive me if I'm not highly rigorous, is that the lower the diffusion of a node, the higher the temperature. And this is an important finding that will have application developments for applied researches in many topics, in many dimensions. And again, it is very keen to the interest of our PhD program. Next, recently, he addressed his interest to artificial intelligence technology, which is becoming a powerful tool to meet challenges arising not only in the energy sector. The application of artificial intelligence to design of smart energy system is a topic of his Lectio Magistralis. Further, he has given relevant contribution, among the other, to network design problems, computational neuroscience, biomedical applications, parallel computing in mathematical programming, telecommunication, supply chain, e-commerce, and financial engineering, data mining, and many other disciplines. He has also given a relevant contribution in the field of financial markets, in the problem of portfolio selection and optimization, and in the statistical procedure for the market graph construction. Now, his expertise is so wide that any presentation would not be adequate. Just think of impressive number of academic rewards received. Among the many, I'd like to mention the Euro Gold Medal Prize, the highest distinction within operational research in Europe, and the Humboldt Research Award. Now, this medal is the prominent European award given to operational research professionals for scientific contributions that stand the test of time. This is conferred by Alexander von Humboldt Foundation to internationally leading researchers of all disciplines in recognition of their academic record to date. It was awarded as Distinguished International Professor by the Chinese Minister of Education and Honorary Professor at the University of Ballarat in Australia. He published a huge number of contributions, over 500 papers, and the number of books of which he's an author and editor is about 200. He's in the editorial board of very top-ranking journals and is author of dozens of patents. His research activity has an impressive record of attracting funds. Now, he has a Google index of 106 and more than 55,000 citations, and has graduated about 60 PhD students so far. Panos is also a member, among the other, of the New York Academy of Sciences, the Lithuanian Academy of Sciences, the Royal Academy of Spain, and the National Academy of Science of Ukraine. He has been president of the International Society of Global Optimization. And from today on, he also has a PhD in economics, statistics, and sustainability from University of Naples Partenope. And we are all proud of this moment, and we look forward having Panos even more involved in our project. Thank you very much to all.
Invita il professor Panos Pardalos per la sua Lectio Magistralis.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be back in Naples, and in particular in Partenope University. I have been coming to Italy for many years, since the 1980s, and I know many people in the audience here. I collaborated with many people. You know, originally I come from Greece, so this is a Magna Graecia. So it's a particular honor for me today to receive this honorary PhD. Thank you very much for your nice words, okay? And I have to be humble. You know, the more we learn, we feel that less we know. So we constantly try to enhance our knowledge in many fields. And today, I will tell you my own perspective, what is AI, and how it applies to smart energy systems and sustainability. Without any question, AI has affected every field of sciences and human activities. And you notice the last few days, a lot of discussion about how AI negatively will affect the humans and so on and so on. All the main newspapers, they talk about many AI things. But let's see, I would give you my own things, what I think about AI, and more specifically about energy and sustainability. Sorry. Oh, sorry, yeah. So what is and what is not AI? I think it's a very confusing term, okay, when it's used by many people. But we know these days we use a lot of technology to augment our own abilities, okay, our senses in many things. We use microscopes to see things very small. We use telescopes to see things far away. We use sensors to sense things that we cannot pick up with our nose or with our ears, okay? We use computing machines. I mean, I say machines here, not only computers, because we have electronic computers, we have analog computers, we have DNA computers. Soon, we're going to have quantum computers, okay, that help us to do calculations very fast. We cannot do it otherwise. We have machine-brain interface. I mean, this is not science fiction anymore. We know that we can enhance the capabilities of our brain using machines. And new things, they came out to our language, okay? Augmented virtual reality, this helps us very much. People, they talk about metaverse, digital twins, chat GPT. Everybody these days, they talks about chat GPT. It's amazing because this technology, in a few months, has more than 100 million users. This never happened before, in a few months. So we must pay attention to the consequences of this technology, okay? And we talk about augmented intelligence and so on. So AI, technically, is a term used to describe machines performing human-like cognitive activities such as learning, understanding, reasoning, and interacting, okay? That's why I think the term artificial intelligence is not good. We must call it augmented intelligence because it really helps us, okay? Helps us to do certain things, adds to our brain abilities, okay? But sometimes terminology can be like, deep learning. It will be used for the next 10 years, but it will go after some time. The same AI, it's augmented intelligence because, with many other scientific techniques, we compute solutions. We try to compute exact solutions. AI tools, they predict the solutions, okay? That's the difference. And they use technique, they predict. So the big thing is who does the good mathematics to show how well we do the prediction, okay? Because all these are heuristics. Anyway. But as Thomas Edison said in 1901, electricity is the field of fields. I mean, electricity really changed our life, okay? It holds the secrets which recognize the life of the world. The same AI now is the new field of fields. I'm not sure where is the computer to move to the next page. Okay. So, oops, sorry. Fast. Back. You see, technology creates problems. Sometimes it's good to do the standard way, okay? Still, when you go back on transparency. Back. Go back. Still back. We are going ahead. Back. Go back. Back. Okay. Oh, no. Another one back. Okay. Sorry about that. AI could generate increasing benefits for the world's economy and welfare. However, there are also concerns that AI, like any technology, could create new challenges and increase the problems we have, okay? And we see from the media the last few days how many concerns they have about AI. Now, there are millions of books the last few years about AI, okay? I will mention a couple of them that are nice reviews in Nature and Science. One is the Atlas of AI. Look at the title of this book, Power, politics and the planetary costs of artificial intelligence, because to maintain a superpower today, any country must have AI tools. Without AI tools, they miss the game, okay? And the next book is a nice book about a brief history of AI, because if you remember in the 1970s, the 1980s, we had a lot of AI results. Then we had what they called a winter of AI. They promised many things, they delivered very few, okay? And now, because of the machines, because we have cheap memory, we have very fast computers, AI again start to getting very powerful. Next, please. Okay. So how can we check the impact of AI in sciences and technology? One thing is patents, okay, because patents are very much related to the startup companies in many countries. United States, you see, has the strongest economy right now because many information technology companies, there are trillion-dollar companies. Take Microsoft, take Amazon, okay, take Apple, powerful companies, okay. So there is a World Intellectual Property Organization that keeps track of how many patents are issued worldwide, okay? I have a link here, okay, this is updated all the time. Now, of course, it's expected as it is expected, most filing patents are made in the US and China, okay? But in the next link I give you, China is #1 now in the number of patents in AI-related fields. #1, okay? So there's a new trend now. AI is a nationalized priority. National security issue for many countries, okay? Who is the leader in AI? So United States, Canada, China, France, and Europe all have national strategies for the AI economy. And also the Stanford University in California produced an index of AI-related publications, okay? And this was details are in a paper published in Nature a couple of years ago. And you see how much the number of publication increases in this in fields related to AI. Actually, in every issue now, we check. Science and Nature are the two important magazines, okay? You see in every issue, there are some articles related to AI. So it's a fundamental tool these days. Next, please. So the United States government issued many reports, okay? The first one was AI, automation of the economy. What are the effects, okay, of this? Many people, they worry today because automation will eliminate jobs and of course, automation has been around for a long time, okay? And will increase in the future, but we'll see what will happen, okay? The second report was about preparing for the future of AI because we need people to be educated there. Even today, if you talk with someone, they don't know exactly what this AI is. It's very confusing, okay? And the third report is about National Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Strategic Plan, okay? And the fourth report is not a classified report, it's a public report, okay? That was issued in March 21 from the National Security Commission on AI. So you see, they pay a lot of attention to AI, okay? And I quote a couple of sentences from this report. The successful adoption of AI in adjacent fields and technologies will drive economies, shape societies, and determine which states exert influence and exercise power in the world. This is a very powerful statement, okay? Very powerful statement. And of course, the next sentence says AI is the potential dual-use technology. The ability of a machine to perceive, evaluate, and act more quickly and accurately than a human represents a competitive advantage in any field, civilian and military. Okay? That's very important. And the European Commission now also has been active on this in this direction. I have a link to this report if someone wants to see later on. The European AI Alliance is a forum engaged in the broad and open discussion of all aspects of AI and development and impact. In fact, there's a lot of funding right now in Europe about projects that AI in agriculture, AI in finance, AI in cybersecurity, okay? In every technology, okay? And the Chinese government is moving very fast in this direction, okay? Due to its national plan for AI domination and the billions of dollars the government has invested in the field, China is poised to take the lead in AI research and usage. China introduced its artificial intelligence development plan in 2017 to make China an AI superpower by 2030, surpassing its rivals to become the world's premier artificial intelligence innovation center. So what we're doing with the West, we have to shape up, okay? You see, because of all these activities, energy is of national priority to many countries now. And I hope Europe and United States, maybe this China will be the new Sputnik to motivate a lot of research in the AI fields. Go back one. Back, okay. So I will focus a little now on energy, because energy is important to, of course, we've seen now the energy crisis, okay? It's very important, maybe because of the war in Ukraine, because of other geopolitical changes. But energy was always very important from ancient times. Probably you know the etymology is Greek, okay? And many of the Socratic philosophers, they spend a little time to see what is energy. In fact, energy and entropy, both are Greek words, okay? And Empedocles, one of the first Socratic philosophers, to think about what is energy, okay? And the Greeks, they didn't give a lot of answers to many of these questions, but they gave many provocative statements. They make us to think, okay, about all these issues. And that's we have to do today. Next, please. So we have to see the dynamics of global energy systems, okay? Changes in oil and gas production and trade flows. Now we have the shale gas and oil, new fields in the United States and Canada, oil production in Iraq, changes in global economy and geopolitical balance. Reconciling the goals of energy security and environmental protection is needed. Okay, security is very important. Like we have today, we can cause a blackout in the grid very easily. Okay, if an enemy wants to slow down the economy, can really cause a blackout, and blackouts in a big city can cause civil disobedience, and of course, not only the economy, okay? And we focus on renewable energy. I will say a few things about this. It's not that trivial, okay? It's easy to say, let's move to the green energy, but how we move in that, okay? And we need to focus on energy efficiency, sustainable energy systems, okay? Because we see climate changes. And we have many issues now on fossil fuel subsidies. Many governments, they subsidize many things, but are not efficient. Like wind energy, okay? It's not efficient, really, efficiently done, because governments really give a lot of money to people to do to use wind. And all these are interconnected, energy with water and environmental issues we have. In fact, water is very energy related, okay? In some states, for example, in the United States, in New Mexico, Arizona, most of the energy is used to bring water in the fields, because they are dry places, they produce a lot of food, okay? And we have a lot of advances now in technology, modeling and optimization, and these advances really help to optimize many of the systems, okay? To cost less and to be more secure and to be more efficient, okay? But we have to consider the impact of recent conflicts, okay? Because we have now USA, NATO, Ukraine, Russia, China, and these are oil-rich countries, energy-consuming countries, and so the geopolitics of these global issues, even the trade flows, for example, of oil, okay? They go through which sea? It's extremely important for the national security of many countries. Next, please. So here we have, I focus on energy because energy produces also a lot of carbon dioxide and many other dangerous gases. Okay, not only people, they focus on carbon dioxide, CO2, okay, but there are many other dangerous gases too. So there's a lot of data on this type of things. I have now data here just before the pandemic, because the pandemic was a very special 2-3 years situation, okay, because people they slowed down and so on. So you see here a lot of carbon dioxide comes from electricity production, of course, from industry, transportation, and other things. Okay, next, please. And here we see the US primary energy consumption by energy source. Okay, petroleum, natural gas. Okay, coal 13%. And still, some other countries like China, they use a lot of coal to produce energy. Okay, so you can see the relation of consumption of energy in many places. This is for the United States. Next, please. So there are many approaches on how to deal with these things, okay, and to consider many issues. For example, the 2019 Annual Energy Outlook project, distributed generation technologies will experience significant growth out to 2050, predominantly then by solar PVs. Solar energy is very cheap, okay, but still not very efficient. The technology is not very efficient. But if we put a lot of money to research, we won't depend on China to produce photovoltaics, okay? We can make it much more efficient, okay? And because of introduction of this renewables, we have a lot of distributed generation of in electricity, okay? Again, the same report estimates that more than 120 gigabytes and nearly 6 gigabytes of solar PV in the residential and commercial sectors, respectively. For example, I come from Florida. I don't pay any bills in electricity because I have solar panels in my house, okay? I pay zero. Yeah, in fact, I give back to the grid. Doesn't make sense. Countries like Italy, Greece, why they should depend on oil? We have so much sun here, okay? If we focus on efficient solar energy generation, will be no problem. And then the other types of non-voltaic technology will be introduced. Next, please. And here it gives you the distributed generation in the US to grow, okay? You see here, there's a trend now in the United States to increase solar energy and some other places too. But still, we are very, even by 2050, the projection is not extremely optimistic. Next, please. And we know, everybody knows, probably have seen this graph for many other talks because it's so powerful, okay? But in the last few years, exponentially, the CO2 emissions have been, generated, okay? Because after the industrial revolutions, okay, 100 years ago, and now these days, we reached a really bad situation. Next, please. And people, they start talking about climate crisis, okay? First, they talk about global warming, climate change, and global cooling, okay? The politicians got involved and they screw up with all this terminology, as usually. But it's a climate crisis, no question about it, okay? No question that these human activities, they affect the environment, okay? Deforestation, for example, pollution from energy, from many other things, definitely affect the environment, and we have more CO2 now. But of course, maybe there are cycles in nature too, but no question that there are some human, relation to this situation. Next, please. And here is the world emissions, okay, by country. For example, you see the Africa here, the Middle East, China, okay, to see what's going on, okay. China still, but of course, during the pandemic, it decreased a bit. But now again, maybe, during the pandemic, many things happened. That's why these charts are before the pandemic. Next, please. And there's this report, if someone has an interest, has a lot of data. Okay, a lot of data. So this data has to be analyzed very carefully to make predictions about what will happen in the future. Next, please. And we talk about energy sustainability, but sustainability is a very complicated concept, okay? It's the ability to maintain or support a process over time. And sustainability has usually three components: economic, environmental, and social, okay? It's very important. You cannot, please, but you cannot talk to people about don't pollute the environment with plastics if they don't have to eat, okay? I mean, maybe the Scandinavians are very careful about where to put the glass and the plastic bags, but they present a very small fraction of the planet's population, okay? The population now goes to 8 billion people. You know, we must focus to be, economics is very important for people to understand and education. And we're talking about to resolve these issues about alternative energy resources, solar energy, wind, biofuels, nuclear, and so on. But we ignore a big question, okay? A big issue. What about the cost of materials and new technologies involved in new energy sources? This is a big question, okay? Go to the next, please. And here is, you know, in many of these technologies, we use rare earths, okay? And when in 2019, China tried to control the export of these earths, you see what happened to these materials. Gold is expensive. It's the bottom here. Look how much more expensive are all these materials. So the materials we use for this alternative energy tools are extremely expensive, okay? And also we must use technologies. How do we produce a wind tower, okay? And how do we maintain this, okay? So this slide says so many things, okay? It's, you know, very powerful, okay? And who controls this material now controls many things. And China controls many of these things now. Of course, now we start thinking again, old mines we abandoned because of the cheap things from the East, okay? So we have to think very carefully, okay? So these are much more expensive than gold, okay? So who controls the sources of this is in control of many things. Next, please. And another thing, there's an institute now that discusses the critical technology tracker, okay? The global race for future power, okay? And just this last month came out a very disturbing report, okay? In fact, China is first in most critical technologies, okay? Including energy. The United States is second. Okay, many of the critical technologies that we have to, you know, if you want to keep to go ahead, you know, now you know, produced in China. Even quantum computers, you know, they have the fastest computer right now. And maybe this is a wake-up call that we must pay more attention to education, to put more attention to research and to many other things, okay? And this is a very interesting slide. I took it from Nature, published in 2009, okay? They discuss about planetary bounds. There are certain bounds we cannot exceed if we want to have sustainability, okay? To preserve the environment, our health, okay? And so on. And since the red lines here, some of these boundaries have been crossed, okay? And of course, many of these relate to the energy, to carbon dioxide, you know. The sea now has a lot of plastic and many other things. The algae, which is in the bottom, the first in the food chain, okay, has been disturbed, okay? The production of algae in the sea. And we have satellites now, we get data. And actually, we get most of this data from Indian satellites because I work on energy. Some years ago, I had a project from NASA where we took data from satellites and we tried to see the change of chlorophyll in the fields and also in the algae, because this is very much related to bioterrorism. If you want to destroy the fish in a part of a sea, destroy the algae, destroy the first organism, the second, the third, and then there's no fish, okay? And what do we eat? I mean, and we in Italy and Greece, we like a lot of fish. Okay, the next one, please. So I'll be a little technical now, okay? I know the audience is very general, let's say a few things, okay? what we are doing here optimization is a key tool, okay? It's difficult to explain to many people what does it mean optimize. Optimize a process means to find the best way, best in the number of steps to solve the problem, best in the number of, if you have profit, maximize the profit. If you have cost, minimize the cost. And sometimes you have a multi-objective plan, which is conflicting, okay? You want to minimize the cost and maximize the profit and many other factors, again, security issues and so on and so on. So I'll talk a little about distribution systems. I will go fast here, okay? Because of many people's background, okay? Distribution systems are now used. We move away from centralized systems in energy because of the introduction of many renewables, okay? And, in the smart energy system, first we must satisfy this famous classical Kirchhoff laws, okay? The balance, okay? If you have too much consumption and you don't produce too much, the system can go down. You have a blackout, okay? That's very important. Next, please. So, we have here a significant research efforts we have done the last few years dedicated to the optimal expansion and operation planning, okay? The grid exists for many years. We cannot start from scratch. We cannot say, now we're going to forget about the grid, okay? Even the water distribution system we cannot replace, okay? We must leave what we have and we must expand it very carefully because constantly expands. And how do you do this optimally? It's a very challenging problem, okay? And also how to do the operation optimally is very challenging problem, okay? Smart grid implementation brings a large amount of data that can be used to better plan a distribution system, okay? And these things should be done dynamically because things constantly they change, okay? Every day, every week, maybe new houses install solar panels in the roof, okay? And we must take it into consideration, okay? We must keep the balance in the grid, okay? And this involves a lot of optimization. Next, please. Okay. How much more time I can? So I can go not to spend a lot of time in the technical issues here. And on the top of this, okay, we have models, and these models are very difficult and large optimization problems, but then policymakers are coming and they say, we want to do this, regulations, okay? And in these models, you must always need to incorporate the regulations from the policymakers, okay? How much to produce and so on and so on. Next, please. I'll tell you a few things here, what we have done what are some of the problems here, okay? Finding the overall least cost plan can be a very difficult problem because it's combinatorial in nature. It means that so many possibilities, okay? Large solution space. So many possibilities to select. How to optimally select. So you have to use some very smart optimization techniques because, for instance, thousands of feasible design options can arise from a filter design definition in the energy systems. The development of models and solution techniques is of great importance for power utilities, and engineers' understanding of the system, its cost, performance, and trade-offs can be facilitated with optimization concepts. Next, please. Here we have, for the modern power distribution systems, we must consider the distributed energy resources, smart grid and automation. And we have several optimization problems in this direction. Allocation of new substations and the reinforcement of existing ones. The conductoring or construction of new distribution lines. And especially sometimes if the lines are far away, you lose a lot of electricity. How do you resolve this problem, okay? Network reliability improvement. A major thing in this issue is how reliable is the network, how robust, okay? We use these terms, we say the network is robust. What do we mean by robustness? We know what robust means in English language, okay? But if I destroy part of the network, still functions, okay? But how do we quantify this? Can you quantify this robustness to say, my network now is robust? Because if I have a blackout in New York, I don't want this to be propagated to other states, okay? And this is a very fundamental problem because today, most of the blackouts are very difficult to predict because they can be generated by humans, okay, by enemy or by mistakes, okay. Also, it can be generated by nature. For example, last time, because of sun's activity in Quebec, sun has a lot of activities, okay, solar activities, made the Quebec grid to go down, but New York gets a lot of electricity from the grid, and we had a lot of an extended blackout, okay. So we have to predict the activities of the sun. We have to predict the activities of the humans that are involved and the enemy also, always. It's very easy to cause blackouts today, okay? Unless we understand, we worked a lot in my group on this type of problems. Because the first thing is to find what are the critical elements of your network, okay? By critical elements, I mean that if I destroy these elements, then I cause blackout, okay? So I have to protect these elements, which is fundamental, okay? And it's very important to know which are critical elements. Can be one substation, can be a line, okay? Can be a set of elements. How to identify these elements is very important. First of all, you must maintain connectivity of the network. Connectivity is a mathematical term, okay? So if you destroy these critical elements, you disconnect completely the network. And the grid, for example, United States, the West and the East and the Texas grid has been united today, is the largest man-made network, okay? Huge and very complicated. So, and of course, if this is difficult for the grid, think about other related networks, okay? We have the water distribution network. We have to protect it. Protection is very important, and to expand it, okay? So these are very difficult mathematical problems, very difficult. And we need to have very good people to model these problems and to solve them because the scale is very big. That's why AI tools are important, you see? I told you these are combinatorial nature problems, which means that the solution time grows exponentially with the size of the problems if you want to solve exactly. That's why AI tools must be used because AI does nothing else but predicts the solution, doesn't compute the solution, okay? That is the difference. Prediction is done through heuristics, neural networks, evolutionary time algorithms, genetic algorithms are type of heuristics, and many other type of smart ways, okay? So predict, don't compute. And of course, you do the prediction with high accuracy. This is the challenge, okay? That's where mathematicians must be involved. It's a mathematical problem, okay? As the network size increases, how close, what's the probability to go close to the real solution, okay? Or to a good one solution, okay? That's the important. That's why AI is very important. Anyway, so even the network robustness is extremely important, okay? Because if you don't have a robust network, okay, you lose, okay? Because a blackout in a place can be expanded to cause blackout in many other places. Next, please. Anyway, here it gives you some schematic thing about the power distribution systems. There are many challenges here, okay? Because of the introduction of many renewables. Next, please. And as I mentioned before, we have expansion and operation planning, volt variant control, because you must maintain voltage balance in the network. Storage is very important, okay, because batteries still, you have solar, but in the night, you must store the energy, okay, if you want to use it. And still, we are far away from optimally designing storage devices. And again, how reliable, how also the lifetime of a battery is very important. It must be cost effective, okay? Cost is always involved, okay? Optimal reconfiguration, phase balancing. All these are very difficult optimization problems. And many times I have been to some energy conferences and the guy speaker says, oh, I have this model. So it's a very complicated objective function. And it says, I solved the problem. But I ask, how do you know you solved the problem? Because you get the input to a computer, you get an answer, it means nothing. Okay? How do you verify? If someone comes and tells me right now, I solved this specific problem. Take a famous problem in mathematics, okay? The traveling salesman problem. If someone comes and tells me, oh, I solved a traveling salesman problem with 1 million cities, how can I believe that? Exactly. He must provide a certificate of optimality, okay? It's not easy. Okay, how do I know? So, because something goes to the computer, it doesn't come out. I tell my students always, we have no computer that 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equal to 1. No, because 1/3 must be 0.333. How much? Okay. So every machine, every computer comes what we call with machines epsilon. The smallest epsilon positive such that 1 plus epsilon equal 1. Because computers, if you have a number smaller than epsilon, is 0. Bigger than a certain number, chops it off, doesn't count. So computers cannot compute with a very small or very huge numbers. And this is one simple example, okay? A very trivial example, okay? Because people, they trust what they get out of the black box. No, this is not a way. That's why we have to design algorithms that are robust, okay? Robustness means that they really take advantage to these uncertainties that exist, okay? So that's why we have stochastic optimization, and other types of alternatives today, but the robustness is very important. Next, please, I go very fast now to these things here. Next, many optimization problems here. We have a book that we published recently. Go next. Next transparency, okay. As I told you, analytical methods are useful for small-scale problems. And of course, today, for example, if you have a mixed linear programming problem, we have state-of-the-art packages, they solve problems of large dimension. Otherwise, we rely on heuristics, okay? Heuristics are techniques that find solutions to problems for reasons we don't understand why. Okay, we still are in the process of understanding why it works. You know the etymology of heuristics, okay? Archimedes, when he was thinking of the problem, how to find the volume of any three-dimensional solid. Like he was living in Syracuse. He was taking a bath and he realized that he can measure the volume of the solid if he puts the solid inside the container, and the water that comes out can easily measure the volume, okay? And then he got so excited, he said, I found it, Eureka, and jumped out naked. He was so excited, okay? That's why the same etymology, okay? Eureka means I found it, heuristic means they find it, but don't know exactly why. So we keep the ones that they find most of the time the solution, okay? So there's a lot of work to be done, okay? Why our brain, human brain, finds these solutions very fast. When I walk through here, I don't compute exactly the distance from one place to another not to crash, okay? Approximately, but how much approximately? And how does it do so fast, okay? I mean, everything the brain is doing so fast. It's amazing. So we have to understand many things. Anyway, next, please. Many problems here, okay? Of single stage or multi-stage, of single or multi-objective nature, deterministic, stochastic, okay? Many uncertainties on this field, okay? And we have to overcome, and that's why we use many heuristics. Next, please. Next, I don't want to, these are very specialized problems here. Just, it's good to see, okay, what we have to deal with many types of problems. And many of these problems are convex or non-convex. In optimization, we have two types of problems. Convex problems that may say easy problems, and non-convex problems that are difficult problems. But to see if someone gives me a problem, okay, to know if the problem is convex or non-convex is not trivial. In fact, the problem is general, maybe undecidable. Maybe never will find an algorithm that will decide convexity of a function. Okay, and this is a very simple concept, and you have to think about it again. So it's from the practical considerations, it's good to say that many of these problems are non-convex, okay? So this is a technical term. You know, convex is a function like that. Okay? You know, like that, it's easy to compute, but there's a fundamental theorem of mathematics that says that every function is the difference of two convex functions. So they build all the other functions. Like in number theory, the prime numbers build all the numbers, the integers, from the fundamental theorem of algebra. Every number, every integer is the unique product of prime numbers. The same for the functions, okay? Convex functions are so important. I worked a lot in global optimization, so I know these things very well. So next, please. Anyway, there are many problems here. I have a handbook that published a couple of years ago, a handbook of optimization in electricity, power distribution systems. It describes many of the models and algorithms in this thing. So I'll go the next, please. Next, I'll go maybe to the end of the talk now. Go further, not exactly the end, but move ahead. Please. Here, just an example, okay, of the objective function that can be included in this type of problems. Minimization of active power losses, minimization of energy losses, minimization of voltage deviation, maximization of energy savings through conservation of voltage reduction, minimization of voltage balance. These are objectives, different objectives mathematically, okay, we can define, and all these things, so we get an idea. So for each of these terms, hundreds of scientific papers have been published, and each one proposes different techniques. Next, please. And the same for this type of problems here. Next, here is a schematic thing of the voltage variant control, because we have to maintain voltage balance in the system, okay? And it's very complicated. Next. Next. I want to say a few things about energy storage systems here. Why we need to use optimization here? Because it depends on the cost and type of energy storage systems, okay? We apply. Time frame to deploy the systems, okay? Sometimes we have to do it in for short times, and sometimes for years. Their capacity, how much capacity they have. Peak performance, peak instantaneous power provision. ESS cycling frequency, consideration for renewable energy support, okay, solar and wind, and placement. How do you put them, okay? Of course, everybody wants to put close to the consumption, the consumers, but for example, the wind towers are far away from the many times. The same the solar panels. Next, please. And here it gives you an idea of the energy storage systems, okay? Next. I know I go very fast here. And of course, now we have also the introduction of electric vehicles, okay? Policymakers, they want to use electric vehicles, but still we don't have many places where to charge the batteries of the car, okay? So many problems for the grid, very fundamental problems. Imagine if tomorrow everybody has an electric vehicle, okay? This would cause a chaos. Because we don't have the system in place yet. We're not ready, okay, to use everybody electrical system, okay? And these are very stochastic optimization models, very difficult. And they try to predict, okay, behavior, but it's not that easy. Next, please. And reliability, I told you a few things. Reliability and robustness are the same things, okay? In every system, we want to know, you see, our brain is very robust because many times we have an injury, but we're not getting down, okay? Still we function. The brain can recover very fast, but main systems are much more difficult to make them very reliable and very robust, okay? Of course, we have a specific manufacturing system, it's much easier, okay? But if you have a huge system that is connected to many other things, then it's much, we have many more challenging issues. Next, please. Go ahead, there are technical issues here about the optimization of these problems. Next. Here, I give you an example here, you know, of reliability problem, you see. The objective here, just to impress you with the mathematical terms, okay. We have cost of interruption cost, okay. customer interruption cost, okay? And there are involved a lot of variables here, okay? And a lot of constraints. Go to next. Okay, the constraints change all the time dynamically because regulations are coming in all the time, okay? New regulations, the network expands, so the constraints change and you have to adapt your system all the time. Next. Again, for the phase balancing, I told you a few things. It's a very, very difficult problem to solve today, and we work because by optimizing energy systems, you reduce the production of CO2, okay? And CO2, we know, is very much related to sustainability. We focus on CO2, but there are many other dangerous gases also that are produced because factories, they use energy, and cars, they use energy, and so on and so on. Next, please. Next, we have some test problems here and so on. Next. We did a lot of contribution in these models here. We have mixed integer linear programming models for capacitor banks allocation, voltage regulation placement, distribution transformer type setting, and so on, and the conductor, of course, which lines should you fix, okay? Next. And here are typical examples, okay? I know. Just to see, these are not trivial problems, okay? The objectives. One objective, because many times in these problems we have more than one objective, okay? Cost always and profit always, because private companies now they enter the market, okay? And private companies, they want to make money. So profit and cost to objectives becomes very, very difficult. Next, please. And we have done some ways how to approximate these difficult objective functions. Next. Okay, next. I go to the last transparencies now. I wish I can do by myself, but move ahead. These are tested for small scale problems to see how it works. Okay, move ahead. Next. Now, for this type of direction, we have a lot of things to do, okay? We have to integrate volt variant control optimization models, integration of energy storage systems and renewables, optimization models considering uncertainties in launch and renewables. Everywhere we have uncertainty. We don't know how much the user, how much energy will use, okay? It's a very famous problem here, very basic, unit commitment. How can you decide to schedule how much energy you to produce, okay? This problem will be always unsolvable because we don't know the demand, okay? How much you are going to cook, how much you are going to use your air conditioning, how much you are going to use your heating system, okay? Because of this uncertainty, unit commitment problem is very difficult. And we have, in fact, we have a book dedicated just using new techniques for the unit commitment problem. And many things we have to do real-time optimization of the networks. But how can you do real-time when these problems are intractable? It takes a lot of time. We know from the mathematical perspective, the time to solve them takes, that's why AI is an alternative, okay? And the security issues these days remain very important, okay? Security issues for the smart grid is the national security for every country. How to protect the grid, okay? And now we have new tools, optimization, of course, a lot of progress in sensors, Internet of Things, data science, blockchain now. Blockchain is technology not only for the cryptocurrencies, but blockchain is used for energy, for data sharing. In fact, a few years ago, we had a conference just dedicating blockchain for energy systems, because if you want to sell your extra energy to a party that you don't know, how can you do this? How can you trust? How do you do that? So blockchain is a very important tool. Next, please. And I will not go now to these details of how do you do this resilience of energy systems because of the time. It's already more time. So let's move ahead. Go ahead. Next. Skip a few things. I'll go to conclusions here. Next. Continue. Next. So we have many publications here, if someone want to see. Next. Papers and many books that they can be published. I was lucky. I had many good students. Next. follow, next. Someone has an interest, we can book optimization in electric power distribution systems, has been published recently. That was part of my Humboldt Award, okay, when I was in Germany, continue. And many books on smart environmental energy futures and power systems, optimization and security challenges in smart power systems, continue, energy pricing, continue, and we have the energy systems book, journal that I'm the founding editor of that journal, continue. And recently we published books also on bioenergy, the electrical unit commitment problem. And as I mentioned before, the energy networks are interconnected with many other networks, okay? For example, telecommunication networks, satellite networks. How can you find out information on what's going on about the activities of the sun that affect the grid, okay? So they're interconnected, okay, networks. And these networks are diverse, not the same. The satellite network is completely different than the water network, than the telecommunication network, okay? But they're interconnected, okay? So in the past, we taught students the theory of networks. Today, we start teaching students the theory of networks, okay? Networks of networks. In fact, they start teaching these classes in very few places, okay? Very few. And the same way, in the past, we taught students on how to manage data that they fit in the computer. But today we have massive data sets. We don't teach students how to deal with massive data sets, data that does not fit in the memory of the computer. Then you need external memory algorithms. Okay? Of course, we have cloud computing, we have these things, but still, how do you do it? Okay? The big companies, Amazon and Microsoft, they don't publish the papers because they make money out of it. They do external memory algorithms. Okay? So we have to change now many of the things in our educational system. Okay? Networks of networks, not just theory of networks. Okay? Next, please. Next. And I will conclude here with some things. Okay. So energy efficiency, conservation, decarbonization of our energy sources is a challenging problem. Okay. We talk about clean electricity. Okay. And affordable. That's very important. It's not affordable. People won't pay attention. Okay. Solar, wind, nuclear, technological or political challenges. What do you think? Solar is a political issue. Okay. In Mediterranean countries, doesn't make sense. Every house should be built with solar panels, period. Like in Cyprus, every house is built today with a solar heater, every house. Otherwise, they don't give you a permission. Doesn't make sense, okay? So politics, many problems are political, are not technological. But now we have faced these challenges, we have to go ahead to do these things, okay? Energy storage is a big issue, and water and cooling, okay? And we have very hot summers. We see the last few summers have been very hot. How can we face them, okay? And security issues, as I mentioned before, very important these days, okay? It can cause blackouts in a country very easily, okay? It can put down, if you know the critical elements of the network, it can cause a blackout very easily, okay? And we must incorporate the new tools, okay? Now, the last few years, we start talking to each other, you see. This happens in many fields, okay? Medicine, for example. Now, AI tools are introduced in medicine. AI tools are introduced in agriculture. I was 2 weeks ago in a conference in Florida, AI in agriculture. Now, everything is AI in agriculture. From picking up strawberries to identifying diseases in plants, okay? What soil to use, what fertilizers, and so on. And now we see the challenge. We spend $7 trillion in the United States for producing food and $17 trillion to treat sick people because we produce not healthy food. Okay? Sugar is a key ingredient everywhere. I mean, why we don't use AI tools to produce healthy food? So we save a lot in the economy and we increase the expectancy of life of people, okay? So political challenges, not only technological, okay? So we have to be citizens, okay? We must be concerned about these things. So, and we must use these tools, okay? That's why energy education is very important. Educate the people about energy and what happened, okay? So I will finish with the last quote here. If we don't change direction soon, we'll end up where we're heading, okay? Catastrophe. So we better educate ourselves and change, educate our students, educate our communities, and with the problems that we're facing, the very challenging problems, okay? And competition international. So we have to be citizens and scientists. We must be concerned about these issues. That's why the last few weeks, you see there's so much discussion about even the ChatGPT. But that's only one small thing. But it took so much. I mean, so many people now they know about ChatGPT. Okay, and many other tools. Okay. What about cybersecurity? What if someone interferes, say we have a hard thing here and stops it, you know? Or someone goes and changes your medical data, your blood type, and you have an emergency and you go to the hospital and they say they put you in blood of different type, you die. So there are many security issues and many other things to master. Anyway, thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you a few things about my opinion. And I am open in the future to discuss with faculty. Of course, we're discussing of Pardalos University and students how we can solve some of these challenging problems. Okay, everybody tries a little, and the knowledge increases, and things are getting. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that we have to be optimistic that we are going to have a better future for our children and for the people. Okay, to live in a better environment, a better world. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Sorry for the overtime.
Invita ora a prendere la parola la professoressa Francesca Perla, direttore del Dipartimento di Studi Aziendali e Quantitativi, componente del Collegio di Docenti del Dottorato di Ricerca in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità e promotrice del Dottorato di Ricerca al professor Pardalos.
Good morning, everyone. Before starting, I'd like to thank Panos for his captivating and illuminating lecture magistralis. I thank the Dean, Professor Garofalo, for having granted me the honor of reading the reason for conferring the honorary doctorate degree to Professor Pardalos, with whom I have the honor of working with and in the same discipline and share the same passion for the application of mathematics and more recently of artificial intelligence to real problems of economic and finance, but above all, a long relationship of friendship, esteem, and collaboration. I read the reason now. Professor Panos Pardalos carries out research while developing applications and patents in the field of global optimization, mathematical modeling, and data sciences. He is recognized as a world top scientist, 30th in the ranking of the world's best mathematics scientists among the 100 top scientists of computer science, member of prestigious academies, editor of respected journals, director of the relevant programs and eminent research centers. In his vast production, more than 500 articles in peer-reviewed journals, about 200 contributions in volumes, 20 books of international resonance, among which the Encyclopedia Optimization stands out. He made a fundamental contribution to the topics of sustainability, energy market modeling, artificial intelligence. He significantly contributed to the diffusion of the culture of applied mathematics, graduating more than 60 PhD students that now join the faculty staff of prestigious universities all over the world. For all this, we are honored to confer to Professor Panos Pardalos the title of Doctorate Honoris Causa in Economics, Statistics, and Sustainability. Panos, please accept my heartfelt congratulations.
Il magnifico rettore degli studi dell'Università Partenope concede e porge la pergamena attestante il titolo di dottore di ricerca in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità al professor Panos Pardalos.
In virtù dei poteri conferitimi dalla legge, noi, professore Antonio Garofalo, rettore dell'Università di Napoli Partenope, visto l'articolo 169 del testo unico delle leggi sull'istruzione superiore, visto il decreto del direttore del Dipartimento di Studi Economici e Giuridici, vista l'approvazione da parte del Ministro dell'Università e della Ricerca, conferiamo al professor Panos Pardalos il titolo di dottore di ricerca honoris causa in Economia, Statistica e Sostenibilità. Il presente diploma viene rilasciato a tutti gli effetti di legge.
Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody.
Picture, nice time for picture. Thank you so much. Yeah, that will go. Yeah.